Hello and welcome to the Printable Cuttable Creatables YouTube channel. My name is Lynn, or LV Handcrafted here on YouTube. And today I'm going to do a little bit of etching. This is going to be a lot of fun. And if you've never done it before, it's a lot simpler than I first initially thought before I tried it for the first time. So I highly encourage you to give it a go if you have never tried this. So what I'm doing here is I am just measuring the circumference around this glass juice bottle, water bottle. It can be whatever you'd like it to be. And the easiest way I found to measure it is just take a bit of ribbon and wrap it around. And so that gives you the total distance around. And as well, I took that same bit of ribbon and just kind of eyeballed about how wide I think I would like for my design to be at most. And today I'm using two different digis from the PCC shop. One is the love peace sign. That's the one on the left. There's a lot of other components to it as well, but I have just chosen to use this. It does actually come with a bubble layer too, if you were to cut this out of maybe some different colored cardstock if you wanted. You'd have that shadow or that bubble layer. And then the second one that I'm using, that I'm working on now, is Love, Peace, Joy. And it actually has icons along with the words Love, Peace, Joy. So pretty cool. I'm just going to work with the peace sign. And when you go to scale, make sure that you scale your digital images so that they are locked in terms of the aspect ratio. The width and the height stay fixed. And that way, when you scale this to the size that you want, in my case, I want it to be at most 2¼ inches wide, then it will not distort the image. What I did in, this is Cricut Design Space here, is that I added a square to my design and I made it a little bit larger than that peace sign, but I'm actually going to go back and make it even larger than I originally set it at. The reason for creating this extra box is because to do the etching, I actually have to make myself a stencil out of the vinyl. So I'm not going to use the positive design of the peace sign, but rather what I'm looking for is the negative space around and surrounding the outside of that peace sign. So I want to make sure to give myself plenty of room, because essentially what the stencil will do is mask off areas of my glass bottle where I do not want the glass etching cream to make contact with. Because what I want to etch onto the glass bottle is that peace sign. And in the case of the love peace sign, I want to etch that word with the peace sign integrated as the O in the word love. That's the design that I want etched. And so what I want to cut and make for myself is a stencil so that the etching cream can go into that space. And I want to make the surrounding box here large enough so it protects all the way around the design too. That way, as I am applying that etching cream, I don't have to worry too much about getting cream outside of the vinyl stencil and accidentally etch, other areas of the glass that I don't want. So the other reason why to create that bounding box is because I want to cut this from the same bit of vinyl. And you can see here now that Cricut Design Space is smart enough to line up your elements so that they are efficiently cut from your vinyl. It saves you a lot of vinyl that way. But I want to make sure that we have that nice bit of vinyl surrounding the design in order to make the etching process a lot easier so that I don't have to be super duper careful with applying that etching cream. You still have to be careful, but at least this way you've got a lot of room to work with. And when you cut vinyl, by design, it doesn't actually cut through the paper underneath that releases. This is just vinyl sticker that I'm cutting from. And so all I'm going to do is cut my design away right on that bounding box that we designed. It's cut through the vinyl, it just hasn't cut through the paper. And it doesn't matter if you're not cutting it perfectly on the line, because we don't really care about the outside edge of this anyways. It's really just used to mask off areas of the glass bottle where I don't want to apply the etching cream. And so I'm going to cut away these two elements because I'm actually making two of these water bottles. We have some friends visiting us, and so I thought it might be nice to make them a pair of sort of matching water bottles. Now, when I go to weed this, I am actually going to weed away the design. I'm taking away the positive image. And what you see in white there, that is essentially the design that we want to etch onto our glass bottle. And the vinyl that gets attached is what's going to protect the glass and keep it nice and crystal clear. And that way, what I'm peeling away here, that becomes the nice frosted glass look after the etching. So I'm going to do the same with this one. I'm peeling away the positive image. So the letters of the word love and the actual peace sign itself that is replacing the letter O. You could actually use those positive vinyl pieces to decorate something if you wanted. They're fun stickers. I actually happen to cut this out of a vinyl that it's a color that I don't think I'll use much, and so that's why I don't mind using it for an application like this, because with the stencil you're just going to use it the one time and then you're done with it. And so what I've got here is a roll of transfer film, and it's essentially a bit of plastic with some low tack adhesive. And what that will allow me to do is it will pick up the vinyl and keep it all attached onto something so that I can actually transfer this design, this vinyl stencil, to my glass bottle. And you'll see what I mean in a bit. I'm going to burnish it down so that it's nice and well stuck onto that transfer vinyl. And before I actually stick this onto my glass bottle, what I want to do is clean the glass bottle. I just have a bit of rubbing alcohol or isopropyl alcohol in that little mini spritzer, and I'm going to give it a good spritz and wipe down the entire glass bottle. This way you clean it from any oils from your fingerprints or any dust, anything like that, that might actually prevent the vinyl from sticking really well to the glass, or it might actually interfere with the etching cream. So just make sure that everything's well wiped off nice and clean. If you don't have alcohol, you could just do plain soap and water as well, but make sure it's really dry before you start etching. And now I'm going to start to peel away that paper liner on the back of my adhesive vinyl. And so I'm going to expose just vinyl, but you can see because we've got it on the transfer sheet, all the design, even though there's lots of little pieces to it, it's all stuck together, and I have something to hold on to and easily position this stencil onto my glass bottle. And I'm going to burnish really, really aggressively to make sure the stencil is well stuck down. I want to also make sure that there aren't any bubbles underneath the vinyl that might accidentally let the etching cream seep underneath the vinyl. because we want to make sure that we get a nice crisp outline edge. And so take care to really burnish the outline around the design itself. Make sure that those edges are really stuck down. If you have a few air bubbles that are kind of on the outside of the vinyl piece where it's far away from the design itself, that's okay, because it's not likely that etching cream is going to get under there so long as it's well sealed. You just want to make sure that all the edges are well sealed. So you can see I'm going to go in where I think it's not perfectly stuck down and burnish it. Okay, so I'm using, there's different, I think, brands that you could use, but I'm using Armor Etch. It's a glass etching cream, and this is a caustic material, so you do want to take some precautions when you work with it. You want to wear gloves, and you want to protect your work surfaces as well. So I've just got some paper towels. One paper towel I want to make sure I have underneath the bottle of Armor Etch itself, just to make sure if there's any spills or anything like that, that my work surface is protected. And then I also like to keep another bit of towel just in case. I mean, we've left ourselves a lot of room around the design to mask off and protect the glass bottle. But just in case I do accidentally get some etching cream where I don't want it, I have that extra paper towel to quickly wipe that away. So make sure you've got everything that you need before you start, because once you start, you want to stick with this until you're done. Don't walk away from it. I haven't used this cream in a while, so it did separate a little, and I just took a popsicle stick and gave it a good stir, just to make sure everything is nice and kind of consistent. And with just a cheap brush, I'm gonna brush the etching cream all over the design. This etching cream recommends 1 to 3 minutes. I did it the full 3 minutes and then some. And all I'm doing is brushing at different angles just to make sure that that cream is getting into all of those nooks and crannies, and that it is well sort of kind of circulated around the design. So you could lay this on really thick and then maybe set a timer, walk away, and come back 3 minutes later. But I think I've gotten better results by just staying with it and just continue brushing it around. When you're done, all you need to do is just rinse off that etching cream with some cold water, and then you have you can dry everything off. And then the fun part of peeling this off and revealing the etched design, it might look a little underwhelming to start because you don't immediately see the contrast between the completely clear glass and the frosty glass while the vinyl is still on there. But once you start peeling back that vinyl, it's so gratifying to see that design really, really come through. And I would recommend for these little bits here, when you go to weed them, just pick a little bit in the center of the vinyl so that you don't accidentally kind of scratch your etched design. And so it's just so much fun. It's a really nice way to have a very subtle design, but it's permanent. So, this could get washed over and over again, and that glass is etched. It's physically altered. It's smooth to the touch, and so it doesn't feel very different from the rest of the glass, but it's gonna hold up a lot better than if you maybe stuck vinyl itself. Like if you took vinyl and you stuck it onto the glass, you could do that and decorate that way too. But it's not always dishwasher safe when you stick vinyl onto your glass projects like this, and it's not quite as permanent. So I'm going to do the same thing with this design. This design I feel like is really well suited to etching onto a round surface like this because the design itself is more vertical. And even though this bottle, it's very it's pretty small in terms of its circumference, and so that means it's got a very tight curve, which can make it a little bit challenging for applying your vinyl stencil. But this design, it's more vertical, and so it's not very wide. So the curvature of the bottle actually didn't affect it too much. And look how fun this is. The other tip that I have for you is if initially you look at your etching carefully and you see that it's maybe not evenly etched, don't peel off the vinyl just yet. Dry everything really nicely, and then you can just do another round of the etching cream for another minute or two. So try to take a good look at your design at different angles and kind of inspect that frosty area to see if it looks evenly frosted. And if it doesn't look even to you, then you can always just dry everything off and do that whole etching cream process a second time to try to even out the etching. So I'm really super excited to share these projects with you, and I hope that you'll give the glass etching a go. As I mentioned, it's perfectly smooth. The glass is permanently etched like this, so you can set this through your dishwasher and that design is not going anywhere. And you can imagine how much fun you can have with all of the different digital designs available at Printable, Cuttable, Creatables, and start making gifts like these for your loved ones and your friends. Thanks so much for joining me today. Until next time, happy crafting and have a fabulous day. Bye.